Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA with me, Shay Brady, and for this video I am joined by Aaron from GAA Fan TV. In this video we are going to be giving a preview of the Táilteann Cup semi-finals for 2022. Of course, the inaugural year of the Táilteann Cup in the GAA. Aaron, to me it's been an absolute breath of fresh air. What have you made of it yourself?
Yeah, it's been great. Like as I was saying to you off air, Seamus, like it's been brilliant to have it. Like it's an extra competition, means more games, more to talk about. And it's great for, some of the, weaker counties. Like they've had more game time, more chances to try out more players. And you look at teams like Sligo and even Offaly, like they've been able to try out different players. They've had underage success in the last couple of years, and now they're able to try out younger players, give them game time. And also as well, like it's more hype. It's better for fans, for supporters of Cavan, Westmeath, Sligo, Offaly. Usually they'd be, switching off at this time of the year, just watching the All-Ireland quarterfinals and semi-finals as neutrals. But now they're, they're enjoying the games, they're involved, and it kind of brings a bit of involvement for all counties. And yeah, great to see both games on RT, like double header on the Sunday. There's nothing else interfering with it. There's no hurling interfering with it. There's no senior football championship. Like there's no All Ireland stuff interfering with it. So yeah, it's going to be two very intriguing games, both in Croke Park. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, 100%. It's something for the players now to stay for, really, when a lot of players might have been leaving for the summer and things like that in the past, particularly from so-called weaker counties. Now they have a real shot at winning, of course, a competition in Croke Park. When you mentioned Sligo there, a Division 4 team who will be playing in Division 4 next season. Of course, their opponents, Cavan, were in Division 4. They're not there anymore, and they never belonged there in the first place. But yeah, that is one of the semi-final pairings. The other semi-final pairing is Offaly versus Westmeath. But we're going to talk about Cavan versus Sligo first. Obviously, Cavan, by myself, by yourself, hotly tipped as the favourites to actually win the whole Táilteann Cup. I mean, the all-stars that they have through their team, Raymond Galligan, Thomas Galligan, they've got Gerald McKiernan, quality footballers in every line of the team for Cavan. And Sligo coming into this game are definitely underdogs. I thought their performance in Division 4 was good at times. They've had an interesting Táilteann Cup run. They made a serious challenge out of beating London in that game. I mean, London had 2 red cards, shot themselves in the foot a bit. And then Leitrim, of course, getting through that game on penalties. So Sligo, no doubt, are the underdogs because Cavan have cruised through the Táilteann Cup. I mean, beating Down and beating Fermanagh with relative ease. What path really, I mean, this is assuming that we're saying Cavan are the favourites to win. What path can you see for Sligo to potentially shock Cavan?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know, like, because Cavan have just, like, even in the last game against Fermanagh, like playing them at Brewster Park, you thought maybe there might be a little bit of a banana skin kind of upset there. Like Cavan lost to Fermanagh last year in Brewster Park, so we're thinking like maybe there might be a bit of an upset there, but they just dealt with them so efficiently. Like to beat them 2-16-13, like wasn't even much of a contest. Like 9 points, could have even been more as well. So it's very hard to see how Sligo can do anything. Like what you would say is, like, if you were looking at Cavan during the league, they never really put teams away. Like they weren't consistent at putting teams away. Even against Sligo, like they gave Sligo a fair few, opportunities maybe to come back into that game and to do something. So they'll definitely take confidence from that. But look, maybe in Croke Park, they've got plenty of talent, plenty of shooters themselves. Like Alan Riley's looked very good this year, 112 from him. And they've got, they are a very attacking team. Like they were one of the top scorers throughout all 4 divisions in the league. And to be fair to Sligo, like although they did struggle to get past London and Leitrim, and he obviously had that controversial goal in the Leitrim game where it clearly wasn't a square ball, and if that goes in, it's probably Leitrim's game, and Leitrim probably do have more quality players. But like Sligo do have a bit of bite in them now. Like they do have a bit of fight, and I think Tony McEntee, coming from Armagh, coming from Crossmaglen, like we're fighting, not, well, there is a bit of physical fighting, but I think more mentally kind of just like that battle, that willpower, like it kind of is there in this Sligo team, like even in the New York game. So like if they can I don't know, like Sligo have been quite attacking a lot of the time this year, but I could see them being quite defensive for this one, because I think if they just go toe to toe with Cavan, they'll just get blown away. So I think if they were to get a lot of men behind the ball, in a very sort of Armagh style, like you've seen Sligo even play a little bit like that against New York, to be fair, or Sligo against in New York in the championship. So maybe that might give them a bit of joy. Like if they can stay in the game, they might just have a chance. But at the same time, like it's very hard to look past Cavan, because like this is the first time Sligo are playing in Croke Park in God knows how long, like I think maybe 2014, 2015 or something like that. Cavan have been here once this year already in the Division 4 final, 2020 as well. And like they're really carrying on their championship form. Like it doesn't seem like they're going to take the foot off the gas. They clearly seem to be taking this very serious. And like Paddy Lynch hasn't, like he's kicked 7 points so far in the Táilteann Cup. He hasn't probably even kicked into gear. So there's probably another gear that Cavan can still go up on. So be very tough for Sligo, but if they can stay in the game, you never know. Like you've seen in Clare Roscommon, if you can stay in a game going into the final sort of 4 or 5 minutes, even if you're 3 or 4 points down, you know, a long ball floated in, you know, in around the penalty area, you just don't know what can happen. So
yeah, and you mentioned about staying in the game. I mean, Tipperary nearly snatched that league final. Of course, remember Stephen Quirk hit the crossbar. That could have been Tipperary's league title if that goes in. So there is a route there for Sligo. If you're talking, keeping it tight, keeping it nice and compact, staying close to Cavan, and then hoping maybe that Cavan have an off day in front to go. You mentioned about Paddy Lynch hasn't maybe clicked into the gear yet in the Táilteann Cup the way that he had in the championship up until this point. Maybe if he has an off day, I mean, Sligo have some good defenders back there, the likes of Derek Cummins. So maybe if someone goes on him that can kind of keep him quiet, they stay in the game. And then the likes of Niall Murphy, the likes of Alan Riley click into the gears for them up front, score crucial goals. Sean Carabine has been a real goal threat from midfield as well throughout the Táilteann Cup, throughout the whole championship. There is a route there for them to win, but I can't see past Cavan. I can't see past Cavan for any really. So I'm going to go with Cavan to win this one. Tighter than I would have thought previously. I think Sligo are going to give them a good game, but I'd say probably Cavan by about 5 points.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you there as well. I think it's like just looking at Sligo, like they've kicked 234 or 434 in total this year. So like they have been, Cavan only kicked 240. So they have been scoring a lot more than Cavan now, provided obviously both of their games went extra time. So they had a little bit more time on the board than Cavan. But yeah, like you'd look at Cavan and just think the experience of the way they play. They're probably going to have most of the possession. They have players as well. Like even if Sligo do play like a blanket defense, like they still have players who can kick from distance, and Thomas Galligan, Paddy Lynch if he drops a bit deeper, and then Raymond Galligan's an expert at 45s as well. So yeah, like you'd have to fancy Cavan to come through this. I'd probably say by 7 or 8, to be honest. I do feel like it could be close, maybe going into the final 20-25 minutes, but I think you will probably see Cavan pull away in the final sort of in that period, like because I think their strength and conditioning is just probably far superior to Sligo as well. So I'd say I think they'll comfortably do it in the end. Yeah,
I agree that they have the conditioning, in my opinion, of a Division 1, Division 2 team, because when they went up against Donegal, they were right there toe to toe with them until the crucial goal for Donegal. So yeah, Cavan for me, and then same for yourself. The other semi-final is a lot harder to call. Westmeath and Offaly, two teams that, in my opinion, are different. I mean, the word I describe Jack Cooney's side as, Jack Cooney's Westmeath since he's taken over, is efficient. They tend to beat the teams that we think that they're going to beat, or we think that they're better than, and then they tend to give a good game to the sides that are a little bit above their station. So example really is the fact that they've never really lost a game in Leinster that I thought, wow, I don't know how they didn't win that one. So they beat Laois, who they are better than, and then they give a good game to Kildare in the Leinster semi-final before going down fighting. I mean, that's pretty much how I would have predicted their Leinster championship to go. So coming into this one now against an Offaly side, which are playing lovely free-flowing football and have used the Táilteann Cup, interestingly, to blood a lot of the under-20 lads. You're talking Jack Bryant has been starting, Rory Egan has been there. A lot of lads coming in from that under-20 side in, and they've been playing really fluent attacking football. Coming into this one now, Westmeath's efficiency versus Offaly's kind of, I don't know how to flair, like a real attacking style and kind of throwing caution to the wind. Very attractive style of football versus a real efficient Westmeath side. Which side would you say kind of has the edge?
Yeah, it's gonna be very tight, all right, between the two. Like, and as you said, with Westmeath, like they're a strange team at times because they sort of they seem to make life a lot more difficult for themselves. Like they went down to 14 men early on against Laois and then had to dig that victory out. You know, they were in front for large parts and then kept allowing Laois to come back into a similar against Carlow as well. They conceded 2 sloppy goals in the first half. Like they're clearly, you know, a quality team. Like John Heslin, as we know, is an exceptional footballer, and Luke Loughlin's really come on this year. Like he's kicked 8 points from play and has looked very, very good this year, to be fair to him. So still have Ray Ellen to come back in who didn't play the last day. And as you said, like when they play the better teams, they seem to give really good performances. Like they kicked 2-15 against Kildare. Like that's a good number to put up in Croke Park. Like, and I think, yeah, throughout the league, there was just, because they seem to make life a lot more difficult for themselves. And I don't know if it's complacency against the weaker sides or whether their game management isn't quite there, but they probably just got caught out a couple of times. And that would be the worry, because like Offaly are coming in with a bit of momentum. I mean, it was a big win against New York, but to come through Wexford and Wicklow in the way that they did, I think would have really stood to them. Obviously, Rory McNamee's like really, you know, he's sort of the main man there. Like he scored, or Noel McNamee, I should say, 116 in total this year. There's so many McNamees, it's hard to keep up with them all this time. There's nearly more McNamees than Kardashians in Offaly at this stage. But and even to be fair, Jack Bryant, like he obviously was a big part of Offaly's under 20 All-Ireland win last year. He's come into the side now as well. Like he started to get like a lot more game time. So that's why it's good, like with the Táilteann Cup, because like players like Jack Bryant and even some of the Sligo lads that are getting in the team, they wouldn't have senior football now. Like they'd probably be back training with their clubs or maybe going away on holidays. So at least, and like Bryant, who would have played obviously in Croke Park last year, gets another day out in Croke Park. Just good development for young players, and it's encouraging to keep them kind of with the county rather than maybe like seeking, you know, offers away in Australia or whatever. So yeah, look, I mean, this is a very hard one to call. Like I think it could have extra time written all over it. I think I have a funny feeling like they get like in a similar fashion to Mayo Kildare. I feel like in that game, like the game was there for Kildare if they just had been a bit more rootless in front of goal and took the chances. I feel like this is going to be similar. I feel like Offaly, they're gonna have the chances all right to win this game. It's just going to be, can they take them, and can they sort of keep themselves under the pressure? But if they were to win this, like it would be a huge win, and one of the biggest wins under John Mon's reign, I'd say.
Yeah, without doubt. And massive shout out, of course, to Luke, who he couldn't be here for this recording, but Luke definitely goes for Offaly here. Luke, that's a second team, but obviously after Dublin, but yeah, no, he really he believes in the youth that Offaly have coming through, the likes of Jack Bryant, the likes of Bill Carroll, the likes of Rory Egan, Cormac Egan as well, as getting a few minutes there in the senior team as well. Like there's a lot of talent coming through in this Offaly side, and I do understand how Offaly can win, but it's more one of those games that I can just see Westmeath getting the job done. I can just see them managing the game pretty well. The likes of Sam McCartan, Ronan O'Toole, these guys putting in good performances. John Heslin kicking about 10 frees, and Westmeath will just get through by a couple of points. I can see it. At the same time, I feel like if Offaly win, I feel like they'll win well. It's one of those games where Croke Park, you never know. Croke Park might just suit them. You mentioned about Jack Bryant and, you know, him getting senior minutes into him. The fact that it's in Croke Park, the fact that there's a lot of space on that pitch, do you think that could suit Offaly more than Westmeath?
Yeah, it could. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what way both teams set up. Like, you know, we've seen Offaly be quite attacking a lot of the time this year, and it's probably maybe in reflection to some of the teams they've been playing. But then in Division 2, they have been probably a lot more defensive, obviously, been playing, better opposition. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think like the crowd will be interesting as well. Like you kind of think that there might be a little bit more Offaly fans there than Westmeath. Like Offaly tend to travel in good support. They obviously, they've no other underage teams involved. Obviously at the minute, I think they've an under 20 team in hurling at the minute. But other than that, like they don't really have much else sort of to support at the minute. So you could see the Offaly fans coming up in numbers. That could play a big part as well. Could play a big role in their development as well. But as you said, like you could see Westmeath, like from having seen them a couple of times this year, you could see them just like controlling possession, like slowing the game down, a few kind of, lateral hand passes here and there just to take the sting out of the game. And if they're 2-3 points up going down the home stretch, like a lad might go down injured, just kill a bit of time, just that kind of thing. Like they probably have that street smarts a little bit more than Offaly, and maybe that could stand to them. And as well, like as you said, like Sam McCartan's looked good. I think he's kicked 1-4 in the 2 Táilteann Cup games. So they've looked very, very good, to be fair, and they have a whole host of options. And they also have a team as well that's very used. Like they've kind of had almost the same team all year. Like maybe a few players dropping out here and there, but they've been very consistently playing together. So they know each other's jobs, whereas Offaly maybe just aren't. They're still an up-and-coming team. They're still trying to figure things out with somebody under 20. So I have a feeling like Offaly will put in a very good display, and it'll be one of those displays that will stand to them. But I think Westmeath, just with that experience and that knack of winning in Croke Park, will just about get the job done. But as you said, like if Offaly, can get a couple of early goal chances, maybe take a couple of goals. Like they've kicked a couple of goals already in the Táilteann Cup. So who knows? It's going to be a very intriguing game, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, me too, 100%. And I think looking at the game with Westmeath against Kildare, they did rack up a big tally in that game against Kildare. On the flip side, they obviously conceded a lot. I don't think the Offaly forward line, as good as it is, I don't think it's as good as the Kildare one. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Westmeath by a point, and I literally mean Westmeath by a score. And I think after extra time, potentially, I think absolutely agree with what you said there. I think there's extra time written all over this one. I think they're as evenly matched as a pair has been in the Táilteann Cup so far in any round of the competition. I think this is the toughest game to call since the competition started. Both have looked impressive in different ways. But I'm going to go at Westmeath. I think this is one where they find a way to win and get over the line by a point, potentially after extra time. So yeah, that's the preview here on Play on GAA for the Táilteann Cup semi-finals 2022. Aaron, thanks a million for coming on again.
Yeah, no bother at all. Shay, yeah, cheers for having me on.
No worries. So everyone check out the GAA Fan TV Aaron's stuff. He's got a preview of his own up for the Táilteann Cup semi-finals and a load of other content as well. So everyone go check that out as well. That's the video here, guys, on Play on GAA. Until the next one, take care.